Good afternoon. This is Eric Christensen of the Tropical Analysis and Forecast Branch of the National Hurricane Center with the latest Tropical Atlantic Marine Weather Briefing recorded Sunday, August 18th, valid through Friday, August 23rd. Currently, we are not expecting any tropical cyclone development over the tropical Atlantic through the next several days. Therefore, no gale force winds or large swell is expected anywhere in the basin. Currently, 6 to 9 foot swell generated by Hurricane Ernesto lingers south of Bermuda. Fresh trade winds continue across the south-central Caribbean. Moderate winds and seas persist elsewhere across the Atlantic and Caribbean. High pressure is supporting gentle breezes and slight seas across the Gulf of Mexico. By Monday, the swell will have subsided south of Bermuda. Expect moderate to fresh southwest winds off northeast Florida ahead of an approaching cold front. Building high pressure in the wake of Ernesto will support fresh to locally strong winds and moderate to locally rough seas over the south-central Caribbean. Moderate winds and seas will persist elsewhere across the Atlantic and eastern Caribbean. Gentle breezes and slight seas will continue across the Gulf of Mexico and northeast Caribbean. The cold front will move into the Atlantic waters off northeast Florida and into the far northeast Gulf of Mexico by early Tuesday. Little change is expected elsewhere for winds and seas. The cold front starts to slow down and weaken as it moves southeastward early Wednesday off northeast Florida and over the northeast Gulf of Mexico. Expect little change in winds and seas across the region, with fresh to locally strong winds and moderate to locally rough seas over the south-central Caribbean. Moderate winds and seas elsewhere across the Atlantic and Caribbean, and gentle breezes and slight seas across the Gulf of Mexico and northeast Caribbean. Looking ahead to Thursday, the front will stall and start to dissipate off the northeast coast of Florida into the eastern Gulf of Mexico. Gentle to moderate winds and slight to moderate wave heights will persist elsewhere. Looking ahead to Friday, the front is dissipated and high pressure builds over the western Atlantic in its wake. This pattern may support fresh trade winds off the north coast of Hispaniola into the southern Bahamas. Gentle to moderate winds and slight to moderate seas will persist elsewhere. This has been the Tropical Atlantic Marine Weather Briefing from the National Hurricane Center. The next briefing will be Thursday, August 22nd, 2024 at 5 p.m. You can always find the latest Atlantic marine forecast at hurricanes.gov/marine.